Well, good evening, and welcome to this celebration of our collective affordable housing initiatives, and in particular, the private sector campaign. My name is Michael Marsicano, and I have the privilege of directing Foundation for the Carolinas. Our community has been discussing access to affordable housing for a long time. Yet, in the past year, we have come together on several occasions to celebrate real progress. Many factors led to our recent momentum. The task force of citizens who wrote the Leading on Opportunity report paved the way. They showed us all how the pieces of the puzzle to upward mobility challenges fit together, and they provided instructions on how we address each of them. Access to affordable housing is a huge piece in solving this upward mobility puzzle, but it's not the only piece. Through the work of Leading on Opportunity, we are seeing progress in all areas of the report, from housing to social capital building to workforce development to universal pre-K. Now, before we get to the task at hand on affordable housing, we need to pause and recognize our fantastic progress on universal pre-K. Just 3 months ago, our county commission voted to implement universal pre-K for every 4-year-old in Mecklenburg County. And thanks to our private sector donors who recently raised $6.2 million in 4 short weeks, we initiated a pre-K teacher scholarship program. This will ensure we have future pre-K teachers to populate all the new classrooms incrementally added over the next 5 years. My friends, this is big and enables us to check off one of the major recommendations in the Leading Opportunity report. My notes say I'm supposed to ask you to applaud the county commissioners. I think you just did. Also in June, the county commission upped its game in the affordable housing space. Here to tell you more are Chairman George Dunlap and County Manager Dina Diorio.
Well, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you, Michael, for that warm welcome, and we want to also thank all of our partners for your support for our pre-K program. Before I begin my short remarks, I want to first acknowledge my fellow commissioners who are present. I think Susan Harding, I saw earlier. Commissioner Harding, she's somewhere around here. Commissioner Mark Jarrell. Okay, thank you both for being here. Affordable housing remains a top priority for both Mecklenburg County residents and the board. Affordable housing emerged as one of the leading issues for residents during our countywide budget priority survey and our public hearing. It is among the top 5 priorities set by the board for fiscal year 2020. And while creating affordable housing is important, we're trying to do even more by addressing some of the underlying issues that are often intertwined with housing instability and homelessness, especially those that pertain to upward mobility. Yesterday, Mecklenburg County's premier pre-K program began its 2nd school year with just over 1,100 4-year-olds embarking on the first step in a long road of creating solid foundation for their future. And it's through these programs, such as MEC Pre-K, that we hope to provide opportunities for all. But this is just one way the county is addressing factors that contribute to housing crisis. Another way we're striving to make an impact is through funding. Now I will introduce County Manager Dina Diorio, who will talk to us about the various ways the county plans to support and create opportunities to help families in need.
Thank you, Chair Dunlap, and good evening, everybody. Recent data shows that more than 21,000 affordable housing units are currently needed in Charlotte for households earning less than 30% of the area median income. The fiscal year 2020 budget for Mecklenburg County provides a total of $22.5 million in funding to help address the affordable housing crisis by providing the money needed to support programs and services within our community. The budget includes funding to help residents remain in their homes by providing $500,000 to expand Legal Aid of North Carolina and $170,000 to support the Charlotte Center for Legal Advocacy. The budget also includes $1 million to support Habitat for Humanity's Critical Home Repair Program, which provides money to residents whose home need costly repairs. And I'm proud to report that Laura Belcher told me today that we've actually completed our first project with county dollars, and so thank you for that, Laura. The budget also includes $50,000 for client benefits to help the homeless gain access to housing, and $1.3 million for services such as Keeping Families Together, which provides supportive housing to vulnerable families. The budget also provides money for housing assistance for individuals who do not qualify for federal housing assistance program. Funding for affordable housing efforts are critical, not only to help provide housing people can afford, but to help renters remain in the homes where they currently live. Recent data shows that 75,000 renter households in Charlotte are struggling to remain within their current budget due to rising housing costs. The fiscal year 2020 budget includes $11.2 million to establish a new rental subsidy program, but additional help is needed. That is why rental subsidies like A Way Home is so important. And with that, I guess I'll turn it back to you or to Judy. Judy. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, George and Dina. Mark, you're here as well. Thank you. And Susan, please, again, give a great round of applause for her. In 2012, a group of volunteers nicknamed Phil's Deli Group, because that's where they met for breakfast and conversation. And they approached the foundation with an idea. They wanted to create a housing endowment that would fund temporary rental subsidies and provide social services to homeless families and people in need. That idea eventually became the program we now call A Way Home. A goal was set to raise $20 million. Here to tell you more about its resounding success is an original member of Phil's Deli Group and the board chair of A Way Home, Judy Selden-Cohen.
Michael. What an exciting day for our community. A Way Home is Charlotte at its best. We are a collaboration of the faith community and the financial industry, philanthropists and nonprofit agencies, the city of Charlotte and Mecklenburg County. Together, we help our neighbors with temporary rental subsidies and caseworker support. A Way Home proves we are better when everyone pulls together. With this collaboration, we successfully moved 3 out of 4 A Way Home families from homelessness to stability in less than 2 years. The City of Charlotte contributed $10 million to our endowment, and the foundation has been raising another $10 million from the private sector. While the endowment is not yet fully funded, we've been operating a pilot program since 2014. The typical A Way Home family is a working mom, generally earning under $22,000 a year, with 2 or 3 children at home. These moms often deal with undependable childcare, which frequently puts their jobs in jeopardy. They deal with eviction histories, domestic violence, and other barriers to success. A Way Home costs about $11,000 per family in rental subsidies, plus $5,000 paid by Mecklenburg County or the nonprofit agency for caseworker support over 2 years. To put that $16,000 per family in perspective, it costs $33,000 for that family to remain in a homeless shelter over that same time period. So, since we can move a family from homelessness to stability for half the cost of letting them stay in the shelter, why wouldn't we? Especially when 3 out of 4 away home families remain housed after subsidies end and with steady employment. These are sustainable results, verified for 2 more years after all our support ends. Just ask Nicole Matthews about our impact. Nicole is a first-grade teacher and a busy mom with 3 children living at home, as well as 3 adult children out on their own. As a single mom on a teacher's salary, she found herself in an unfortunate position last year. Away Home was there to help. She is graciously willing to share her story with us today. Please welcome Nicole Matthews.
Good evening. It looked a lot different with my back to you. Okay, so my name is Nicole. Thank you for introducing me, Judy. Sorry for the tears. So I will just talk for 2 minutes, I was told, to say my quick story. And I just wanted to share it. I am a first grade teacher at CMS, new to Charlotte. I've been here 3 years. And I just wanted to share 2 pictures because I'm a teacher and I always teach with props. I usually have crazy hats on, so I didn't want to do that to freak you out. So I walk in my living room every morning and I want you to picture this. This little girl in kindergarten just getting out of a foster home, abused by both parents, and then they died when I was 13. My family didn't think I would even finish school, but I not only finished high school with my daughter, I finished my first degree with my 3 children on the front row, and then I got my second degree with 6 children in the front row. I just wanted to say last year I did experience homelessness and went through a bad divorce, but I am here to say that that was my setback for my comeback. And my support system, one of my co-teachers has been there for me. My son, my twins could not be here, they're at a church event, but my second picture is what holds me down. I have 3 older children living in Boston, and nobody believes I have 6 children. It's okay. So my success story is simply Away Home has given my family just that, a way home, and I'm still able to go to work every day. I now picked up another job at Dunkin' Donuts, so I probably smell like coffee. I just wanted to thank Judy, and as one of the pre-speakers had just mentioned, sorry, I don't remember your name, but they talked about the Away Home also has counseling and case managers, so I don't know how, but I kind of use her as my physical therapy, mental therapy. I thank you, Quia, wherever you are. I thank you, Deronda, for referring me, because I originally just called to get addresses and phone numbers to local hotels, and they said, we have a program called Away Home to put you in. So I'm sure my time is up, but thank you all for listening to my story.
Thank you, Nicole. Her story is an inspiration and a reminder of the promises of today and the promises of tomorrow. This year, Away Home is moving 80 new families out of homelessness and into housing, ramping up to 100 families every year. Think of the brighter tomorrows that this program creates for our community. As I said before, the Foundation for the Carolinas leads the fundraising for the private portion of the endowment, now just $250,000 away from goal. In other words, endowment cash and pledges now total $19,750,000. Today, I am thrilled to announce that the law firm Moore and Van Allen has pledged $250,000. Is Tom Mitchell out there? Tom, will you pick your hand up? Thank you. Tom. Thank you, all your colleagues at Moore and Van Allen, for your generous gift to reach this goal. As board chair, I thank everyone who has given their time, their talent, and their treasure to Away Home. We have high hopes for moving more families from homelessness to stability, continuing our amazing success rate. With the support of this community, we can make this happen. Thank you.
Judy, it takes a champion, and you've been a champion for this program, so we all thank you. Congratulations on making goal and for helping to shepherd the Away Home program through its pilot phase. And thank you to Moore and Van Allen for bringing us across the finish line in our $20 million goal. Tom and Ernie and Felicia, your law firm leads the law firms in this community with generosity, and we are grateful. I know Judy in particular is thrilled we've reached the goal, and she thinks we're done with the fundraising effort. You know I like drama. But this evening we get to surprise you further. Here with an additional announcement is current governing board member of Foundation for the Carolinas and one of our city's lead philanthropists, Howard Levine.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here this evening. I've been a supporter of the Way Home program now for some time, which is why I am happy to announce that the Howard R. Levine Foundation is committing an additional $1 million to the program. Thank you. So this, I'm not real good with math, but 20 million plus 1 million is $21 million. So well deserved and a good investment. Oftentimes a new initiative, we study it, we talk about it, we turn it upside down, we do this, and then we're waiting for results, and who knows. But thanks to the results we've seen here the last few years in the startup phase, we've got a proven track record on how to get results. And that's an amazing advantage in my view as we move forward and invest more money. So thank you, Judy. Away Home is seeing a 75% success rate, an incredible return on investment in total during the pilot phase. Away Home has moved 157 families, which is more than 500 people, to affordable housing with rental subsidies and on their way to self-sufficiency. I make this gift for two reasons. First, to help serve more families, and second, as an encouragement to our good friends in Mecklenburg County government. We already have a successful program, as I said before, and it's running. We just need more funding, and we're ready for more funding. So I strongly encourage you to add your county dollars to the program. It will be money well spent. While Away Home is helping people now, the Charlotte Housing Opportunity Investment Fund has its eye on the future, which is why I'm committing another $1 million to this private sector campaign. We're building new affordable housing. As a Foundation for the Carolinas governing board member, I was proud to vote for the first contribution to the fund, a $5 million program related by investment by the Foundation. And I'm proud to continue my support with an additional $1 million, and this brings our total now to $45 million. Thank you so much for being here tonight, and thank you for your time.
It just gets better. Thank you, Howard, for these extraordinary gifts and for all that you do for our community. You're a terrific FFTC board member and a generous philanthropist. I know you delight in doing so, and I hope you will share our joy with Julie. We thank you both. I want to point out that Howard is the only individual donor so far to contribute to both the Away Home Endowment and to the private sector Charlotte Housing Investment Fund. If anyone else would like to follow in his generous footsteps, you can see me after the event. We'll talk. Not only has Howard and Julie's gift taken us over goal with one campaign, it takes us to $45 million toward our $50 million goal in the second affordable housing campaign, namely the investment fund. Up next on that campaign is Sean Heath, the Vice President, Chief of Staff, and President of Duke Energy, a company serving more than 4 million electric and natural gas customers across the state. Sean knows this community well, which is why he'll be joining our Charlotte board in December. Here with another significant announcement, please help me welcome Sean Heath of Duke Energy.
Thank you, Michael, very much. I'm actually pinch hitting tonight for Stephen DeMay, our North Carolina State President, who, as you can imagine, is immersed in storm planning and response efforts as Dorian makes its way up the coast. So he sends his regrets. He's very disappointed he couldn't be here tonight. But thank you again for allowing me the opportunity to speak here on behalf of Duke Energy. Once I found out that Stephen wasn't coming, I had to do a little bit of homework on the investment fund. And I'll tell you what really struck me was, and here in this room it's represented very well, is the strength and diversity of this coalition. It's just amazing to think about the private sector, healthcare, energy, financial services, real estate, the nonprofit sector, the public sector. The list goes on, and it's truly impressive. And I think it's truly a differentiator for Charlotte. It's much too soon for a victory lap, but I'm certain that many communities around this country are envious of the type of coalition, the community coalition that we've built here. It's special, and we cannot take it for granted. If there is a secret sauce that Charlotte has discovered, I would point to two factors. And Nicole, I brought a prop as well. So many of you will recognize this. This is my personal copy, and I'm proud to share with you that in March of 2017, I read this from cover to cover, and I have the highlights and post-it notes here to prove it. What a tremendous blueprint this has provided. Many leaders in this room were instrumental in developing this document. It provided us with a sense of purpose and a sense of direction, which is so very important. And the second factor that I would point to would be to really focus on the public-private partnership models that we're seeing emerge in Charlotte. I think about the pre-K expansion with the county and the tremendous traction that we have there, and of course the push for affordable housing with the city, not to be taken for granted. These public-private partnerships are how we gain momentum, traction, scale, all of the things that are so important to really deal with these tough community issues that we're faced with. So in regard to this evening's focus on affordable housing, I would simply say from a Duke Energy perspective that we are proud to be part of this team. Building on the leadership of Mayor Lyles, the Foundation for the Carolinas, many generous investments announced earlier this year, and already this evening, I would like to share with you that Duke Energy has pledged $2 million in the Housing Opportunity Investment Fund. So the math is getting even harder, right? So the math is getting even harder, bringing us to a total of $47 million and still counting. So in closing, on behalf of the over 4,000 Duke Energy employees that live and work in Charlotte, I would like to thank you for the commitment to this important community issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean, for your leadership, and thanks to Duke Energy for its generosity. Your company is socially responsible and a civic leader in moving us forward. Not only do we thank you for the affordable housing contribution, we note with gratitude the lead role by CEO Lynn Good in bringing to life universal pre-K. And of course, we know how busy your company is right now helping families in need as Hurricane Dorian pummels the eastern seaboard, so we thank you for that. Well, my friends, we're almost at goal. We're getting close, and I'm excited to introduce our next speaker. As Executive Vice President and Chief Consumer Officer of Novant Health, Jesse Curitan works hard to create a healthier, more active, and more vibrant community. Novant Health oversees 15 medical centers with more than 1,600 physicians in 640 locations throughout the Carolinas, Virginia, and Georgia. In addition to serving on the Foundation's governing board, Jesse is on the Leading on Opportunity Council Board and chair of the Charlotte Regional Business Alliance. So Jesse, are you taking us just shy of goal? Are you going to take us to the goal? Perhaps over the goal? The anticipation is high. Jesse, the podium is yours.
How do you follow that setup, right? My gosh, good evening to all of you, and thank you so much for being here. This is indeed a celebratory moment for Charlotte. Thank you, Michael, so much. I am Jesse Curitan, and I serve as Chief Consumer Officer for Novant Health. And I am indeed excited to be here today. Partnering with the Charlotte Housing Opportunity Investment Fund is not something we take lightly. Our mission at Novant Health is to improve the health of our communities one person at a time. And we understand that well-being starts at home. Access to a healthy and affordable home is a prerequisite to good health. That is why we are thrilled to announce, on behalf of our CEO, who is also absent due to a storm called Dorian, on behalf of our executive team members that are here, many are here tonight, we are proud to announce a $6 million commitment to the Charlotte Housing Opportunity Fund. Teammates, please stand up. Yes. This represents a phenomenal executive team and a phenomenal organization. This commitment will go to help more than 55,000 Charlotteans without an affordable place to live. In some cases, it will support housing for people working on the front lines of healthcare, including some of our own Novant Health team members. Over the last several years, we've seen firsthand that there are significant differences among our community members here in Charlotte, which have translated into a discrepancy in opportunities, including access to quality health care. But we've also seen that partnering with our organizations in the area that can help address social determinants of health, like housing. Novant Health is committed to helping people access affordable housing so they can thrive. I'm grateful that the Foundation for the Carolinas saw this need in our community and took action to address it. I'm also proud that corporations in Charlotte are focused on greater accountability and collaboration to positively impact the community. By working together, we can create lasting change. At Novant Health, we have a history of being engaged in the communities we serve, so that as we heal bodies, we're also healing neighborhoods, cities, and yes, regions. We provide hundreds of programs that serve patients, our neighbors, and some of our community's most vulnerable citizens. In 2018, we provided more than $883 million in community benefit, which includes $155 million in financial assistance. Each year, we also provide more than $3 million in charitable contributions and countless hours of volunteer time and talent. With an intentional focus on our most vulnerable populations, our goal is to create equal access to excellent health care while removing healthcare disparities and delivering health equity to our communities. We've seen some populations that have been excluded from receiving high-quality health care, and we're doing our best to address that. We continue to look for opportunities to expand to better serve our patients, such as community center clinics, pop-up clinics, additional corporate clinics, and other creative access points for our communities. One of the main ways we are working to address economic mobility and equal access to care is through the One Charlotte Health Alliance. This partnership between Novant Health, Atrium Health, and the Mecklenburg County Health Department was established to improve the health of communities we serve. We have pooled our efforts and resources to build upon existing work and come together for the community. Our shared goals include things like reducing healthcare disparities, decreasing barriers to healthcare, providing primary care and other needed services to priority areas, and aligning with efforts already underway to address social determinants of health. This commitment to the Charlotte Housing Opportunity Investment Fund is a way for Novant Health to come alongside efforts already underway to address the housing need in our community. I am proud to say that Novant Health is the organization that helps to fund and to surpass the goal. And with that commitment of $6 million, if I'm counting correctly, the fund total, Michael Marcicano, is now $53 million. We at Novant Health look forward to the additional impact that we have in this community. Thank you so much.
So as we approached our $50 million goal, one organization that I knew I could count on to take us to goal was Novant. And here, you've taken us over goal. Team Novant Health, I thank you for not only pushing us across the finish line, but taking us far past it. Jesse, your leadership at Novant Health is a service in our community is exceptional. And I'd be remiss if I did not also thank you for your exemplary service on the Foundation's governing board. You are one of my best bosses. Unfortunately, for our next two speakers, they have to follow a number of big announcements. Luckily, they have their own important news to share, because all of these resources we celebrate today have now been activated to meet the needs. The City of Charlotte has been hard at work, already moving projects forward that will help us tackle the crisis in affordable housing. My friends, please join me in welcoming Mayor Bilyles and City Manager Marcus Jones.
Oh my. First of all, as mayor of the city, I wake up every day and I have to think about something that really helps me commit to each and every one of you. And I think every day Charlotte can be the best city in the entire United States. And that brings meaning to me because we have started on this path years ago. Many of you have given ideas. I mean, you think about what you've committed to and how you've done this. And you made this possible. It's not about corporations, it's not about government, but it's the people in the city that truly make a difference. And I want to say thank you and thank you for who you are and what you make this city be. I think our possibilities are great, but now I have to follow the script that they gave me. Okay? But I have to say, you know, I have to tell you, tears don't bother me one bit. I cry at the drop of a hat. I'm about to tear up right now. Because if you really believe in what you do, if you really commit to it and get it accomplished, tears can be a celebration just as much as a salute, a flag, a drink. It is something that we all should be proud of. So I'm going to go ahead and say, when we had that bond referendum at $50 million and 69% of the community voted for it, when we had the challenge to talk about the private sector matching that $50 million, I don't know any place else in the country that's been able to do that. And it just shows you how strong we are when we come together for a common cause. Now, I've known Jesse and Novant Health for a long time, and I have to say to them, thank you for what you do. Many people will remember either being at Carolinas Medical Center or Presbyterian Hospital when you were born. but we're grateful for the health care, the history, the legacy, because I think you're taking us forward. We also have to say thank you to Duke Energy, Sean, thank you, Howard, thank you, Maureen Van Allen, my good friends Ernie and Tom, thank you. The commitments made today go towards the private sector's housing fund and a way home. I've been to the Phil's Deli Group. They're a hard audience. I want you to know that. They're still a hard audience, actually, when we start talking about what we're doing. But we know that we can make a difference here. And I think that our community believes in us. Ms. Matthews, you're not alone in this. I don't care what support group we recognize and who comes forward. But what we want is for you, young man, and your twin siblings to be in this community and actively participating in our growth in the next 10, 15, 20 years. We want you to stand on our shoulders. So since my installation as mayor last December, hopefully maybe all of you guys gone out to vote again, I hope. Yes. There'll be people in this audience that will be standing. They're current leaders right now. Where are the council members here? I saw Tark Bakari, Larkin. Thanks, Tark's raising his hand. Larkin Eggleston was here. I think he went to a football game. That's okay. We understand that as well. But I want to say that all of us that sit at that dais on most Monday nights, we stand in front of you, but there are 8,000 people behind us that make it work. And I can't be more proud of the city staff and the team that every day deliver the services to this community, because they give their share all the time. Arts, housing, United Way, all of those things take place there. But we want to recognize some really great companies and businesses. Ally, Atrium Health, Bank of America, Barings, BB&T, Brooks Sandwich House, which you gotta go, Crescent Communities, Fifth Third Bank, and make sure that we know Foundation for the Carolinas with that signature gift, and SunTrust, which is now Truist, and my friends at Wells Fargo. These corporations are not just buildings. They're people inside of buildings that make us great. The Foundation's campaign to raise that $50 million from the private sector began with our first $50 million bond referendum for affordable housing, from $15 million to 50. So next year in 2020, when you get ready to vote, we're going to vote on the next 50. And we Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now I said we have 8,000 employees, but we've got 8,001, and the one behind me makes the most difference in the world. Please let me introduce Marcus Jones, our city manager.
So Michael, I will jump on the script, but before that, I've been here less than 3 years, and what an amazing community. This is home, and the way that people come together to tackle an issue, I've never seen it before anywhere else, like my home, Charlotte. Okay, so with that said, Mayor Lyles said our community is in an affordable housing crisis. Charlotte currently faces a deficit of affordable housing units, and nearly half of our residents are cost burdened, meaning housing costs exceed 30% of their income. But while we talk today about shaping tomorrow, let us not forget what we are already doing to aid in this fight, and how both the private and the public sector are working together. There's one thing that the mayor and the council that they will talk about over and over again is action. So let's talk tonight a little bit about action. In July, the city council invested nearly $18 million for 8 affordable housing projects, which included 6 new construction projects and 2 renovations of existing multifamily complexes for a total of 950 units. But that's just part of the story. It's important to note that the 8 projects included money from both the city's Housing Trust Fund and the Charlotte Housing Opportunity Investment Fund, as well as nearly $5 million in reduced interest. And had we not partnered these 2 funds, which basically cut the cost in half as related to the Housing Trust Fund, we would not be where we are today, which gives us opportunities for more units. This is a perfect example of why we need the city and the private sector to collaborate in tackling this problem. None of us can do it alone. And with that said, I would like to turn it back over to the greatest mayor in the greatest city in the United States.
He gets paid to say that, but I'm liking it. It's okay. Am I closing this out, Michael? I'm introducing someone. Is it in my folder here somewhere that I'm supposed to introduce someone? I don't know who that someone might be. Do you think there's someone that we ought to recognize in this community even more than he's recognized with the Bank of America Tower? Are you sure? What about, Jane might be a good choice. I'm sorry. Please welcome to our podium the leader of one of the best leaders in this country for the city of Charlotte. Please, from Bennettsville, South Carolina, my state, let's welcome Hugh McCall to the podium.
Well, good evening.
Good evening.
Well, thank you, Mayor Lyles, for your fine leadership of our great city. Your steadfast commitment to affordable housing has taken us a lot further than we thought we'd ever go. You've been an exemplary public servant, and it's a good thing you got Marcus with you to help you, because he knows how to get things done. Now, over the last few months, we have raised a lot of capital for our neighbors in need of affordable housing. So I'd like to say congratulations to all of us. We've all done a good job. So thank you, and congratulations to you. Now, my experience has taught me that you can raise a lot of money when the need is critical and the solutions are well designed. So today, in the work we celebrate this evening, we have both of those things. It should come as no surprise then that we've been hugely successful in raising funds. Tonight, we celebrate Charlotte at its best. But why stop at having made our fundraising goals? We know the affordable housing needs are greater than the financial goals that we set. It is the great philanthropists who take us to higher places, and Leon Levine is a great philanthropist. It would not be an overstatement to say that Leon has redefined generosity in this city. He and Sandra have given more deeply, more creatively, more wisely, and in more places to this community than any other philanthropist of our generation. Now, since Leon made philanthropy his second career, he has given away more than $300 million to worthy causes in the arts, healthcare, human services, education, and well, the list, goes on and on. Now, I speak for a grateful city in thanking Leon and Sandra. It is a personal privilege to welcome to the podium my good friend of 60 years, Leon Levine.
You notice he said he's from South Carolina. I'm from North Carolina, only 20 miles apart. And I was thinking about hiring a PR man but now I don't think I will. I just went in the audience here, it'd be the best I could find. Good evening, and thank you for those very nice words. This is a great evening for Charlotte and for housing. Just think of all the families we're helping. I'm pleased to announce my foundation is giving $5 million to the Way Home Housing Endowment. Sandra's giving, I hadn't told you yet, $3 million of it. Thank you for being here tonight and helping to solve the problem of affordable housing challenges. Together, we can make a difference. Charlotte's a great city. We've got a great mayor and a lot of great people. And Marcy County, I've been listening for a long time, and I'll tell you a story that when I was running the retail business, he called me, and he was in charge of the United Way Arts Council, and he calls. He said, "I'm desperate." I said, "Why are you desperate?" He says, "A minute, I need $25,000 because we're closing out this thing, this campaign." And I hear this terrible noise in the back. Oh! I said, "What is going on?" He says, "My wife is in the process of having a baby." And I said, "And you called me. How can I turn you down?" This is a great man, and he's done it. And it's not good. Mr. McCall, congratulations for all the good things you've done. Thank you.
We were in the delivery room, and my wife's here. So, Leslie, I don't know where you are, but thank you. So how fantastic is that? Someone needs to make sure Judy Selden Cohen hasn't fainted. Thank you, Leon, for this extraordinary gift to the Way Home Endowment. Time and time again, you've answered our community's call, whether providing critical need for those most affected in the Great Recession, enhancing our arts and cultural landscape, giving educational opportunities to deserving students, or advancing life-changing healthcare initiatives. And today, you and Sandra have just added affordable housing to that list in a big way. Leon, you, sir, and your wonderful wife, Sandra, are the most generous of the generous. We thank you, and we applaud you. Also, I want to thank my friend and mentor, Mr. McCall, for all he has done to move us forward on this issue of affordable housing. Here, the campaign would simply not be where it stands tonight without you. We applaud you as well, sir. And I'd be remiss after more than a year of fundraising if I did not thank all who have given to the Charlotte Housing Opportunity Investment Fund so far, and the Way Home Endowment, including those who have given so generously today. Thank you to Tom Mitchell, Maureen Van Allen, thank you to Sean Heath and Duke Energy, to Howard and Julie Levine, to Jesse, Curitin, and Novant Health, and finally again to Leon and Sandra. I want to give one final thank you to all who have helped on this campaign, and specifically, I want to thank Katie Koff, who's been working tirelessly with the foundation as our lead team member, and who's been an invaluable resource on this effort. I also want to thank the entire staff at Foundation for the Carolinas. I get credit for a lot that comes together at their hands. When we began this campaign almost a year ago, I never imagined so many partners would get involved from so many different sectors. We set our goal at $50 million for the private sector. And we've already raised so much more across the board for affordable housing. Now get your calculators out. In less than 1 year, since November's bond referendum, as a community, we increased the Housing Trust Fund to $50 million. We've raised so far $53 million for our private sector housing opportunity investment fund. Plus, we brought together an additional $104 million in private sector support outside the fund with reduced lending and land donations. We far exceeded the goal for Away Home, reaching $26 million. Not to mention the $25 million pledge to support from LISC, which is managing the Opportunity Investment Fund, and the $15 million from Mecklenburg County, primarily for rental services. In total, that's more than $270 million devoted to affordable housing for this community. All coming together in just 1 year, and to that I say, wow.
Yes.
I'm going to say it again, wow.
Wow.
As we celebrate the coming together of so many resources, let's not forget that it isn't about the money. Today is really about our fellow citizens who can now believe help is on the way. They are your friends, your neighbors, your first responders, your healthcare workers, your bank tellers, your children's classmates, and yes, your children's teachers. They work every day to make this community a better place. They are why we're here today and why we will not give up until Charlotte's reality lives up to Charlotte's ideals. Thank you. Please continue to enjoy the festivities and the fellowship. Good evening.